Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Janet Sadlock and I want to show you some more microwave convection type of cooking ideas. This one I'm showing you today is some udon type noodles that are cooked with some roasted vegetables, and it's just a really nice supper dish, and you can vary it with any kind of cooked meat, fish or poultry. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to use a combination of carrots along with broccoli and cauliflower for the vegetable. The carrots will take a little bit longer to oven roast than the other vegetables, so I'm going to just add a little bit of water with them. So I'll just put about a tablespoon of water on them, and I'm going to just put them in a microwave them for about a minute, and that will just get them hot enough so that they will cook alongside the other vegetables. So I'm going to just push a minute plus on this oven, and it'll give me a minute of microwave time. And then the vegetables I'm going to use are going to be the broccoli and the cauliflower, and then I have some onion and garlic that goes with it too. So I'm going to put these into a baggie, and I just took one of my older baggies here, and we'll measure out 2 cups of the vegetables, and so I've already cut these. Just cut them into smaller pieces. So we'll put in about a cup of the broccoli, and it's kind of has a lot of air in between it, so I'm going to over measure here a bit and put that with the cauliflower. And you can use any combination of vegetables. Generally, if you have vegetables that cook about the same amount of time when you're cooking them conventionally or in the microwave, then they're going to cook about the same here. So I'll just go ahead and put those into a plastic bag, and I'm going to throw away this bag when I'm finished, so I tend to use an older bag. And I'll take the vegetables out now. And then I want to preheat this oven to 375. So I push preheat and then 375 and then start, and it'll start preheating. And so I'm going to add the onion and the garlic to it. So it's about 2 cups total of the vegetables, and then about a fourth of a medium onion. This was a large onion, so I took about an eighth of it, and then 1 clove of garlic. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil to it, and this is approximate, so I'm going to use my imaginary measuring spoon. And what I want to do is just coat the vegetables with the oil, and if you want to, you can close it up and you can shake them a little bit. You want the vegetables to coat with the oil because then the seasonings will stick to it. So today for seasonings, I'm going to just use salt and pepper, but you could use seasoned salt. You could use any kind of a thyme or a tarragon vegetable type of seasoning with it. And with the carrots, I'm going to just drain them. And so with these silicone cups, you could just press in the sides. If it's too cold, too hot, then just use a silicone hot pad and then just squeeze it in, and then you can just drain it out without losing the vegetables out. So I'm going to add these to the vegetables in here because I need these to get coated with oil too. The carrots just add a little extra color, and like I said, I just pre-cook them a minute to just get this cooking started so that they'll be done at about the same time as the cauliflower and the broccoli is finished. So you could either put these into a shallow baking dish, such as one of these, and I use a lot of silicone, and I have silicone dishes on my website. When I'm out at the RV shows, the silicone is really nice for RV cooking because it doesn't rattle. If it falls out of the cupboard, it doesn't make any noise, and if it doesn't go in one way, you can fold it up and put it in another way. And I even use this technique some in my home kitchen because I don't have a lot of space in this kitchen. But I could put them in a shallow dish like this, and this is nice if I have a larger quantity. But I get a little better browning if I put them right onto the rack and the baking sheet. So this is a Teflon coated baking sheet that I use like a baking pan. So I just put that on the rack and then put the vegetables on it. And you want them in about a single layer. Then they'll toast and cook a little bit. And the unique thing about how I'm cooking this is that I'm using a combination of microwave and convection. And so the microwave is at a 30% power, so it's pretty low, and then the convection will be at 375. So the combination of the microwaves helping to heat the vegetables, and then the convection heat browning and crisping the surface will make for a nice finished product. So I'm going to sprinkle these with a little bit of salt. So I'm going to use a little sea salt. You can use regular salt too. Sea salt's kind of in today, and it's a little larger flakes, and so it dissolves a little more slowly than regular salt does. And then I'll put on some ground pepper too. So you could add turmeric to this too. You could add, like I said, seasoned salt, any of your herbs, basil, thyme that you like to put with the vegetables. So I'm going to put these in and cook them for, let me just double check my recipe here so I give you the right time. I'm going to put them in on the 30% microwave setting for 10 to 12 minutes. Let's see how close I am to being up here. It should be ringing shortly because it's just about there. So on this oven I can check the temperature that's inside when it's preheating. So I just press convection and then it gives me the temperature inside the oven. So when I pushed it, it said 375, which means that it should ring any minute, and it did. So just set those in. So I said the Chemex setting, which is 30% microwave with my convection heat, and then I'll set it for 12 minutes. It's 10 to 12 minutes time on it. Okay, so while our vegetables are oven roasting, I'm going to start the noodle part of this. And for the noodles, I'm using a microwave safe noodle pasta type of cooker. There's a longer pasta that I've been selling at the RV shows for a number of years, and it works really nicely for the long spaghetti and that type of pasta. And then at Christmas, my granddaughter, who's at college, wasn't able to use her pasta because the microwave is too small for the size of the pasta dish, and so she got one of these smaller ones, which is made for ramen type of noodles, but it also works well for regular pasta too if you just want one serving or two servings. And in both cases, the dish has a little groove in the bottom, and that makes it so that the water doesn't boil over easily. So it'll come up to the top, but it doesn't quite boil over. And so this will work really well with the Thai wheat noodles. I'm using these. They come in a package like this. And I got these at Trader Joe's, but in your regular grocery store, there are udon type noodles that are very similar. These are already pre-cooked, and so that you just slit the bag and take it out. They just need to heat up some way so that they loosen up because they're kind of tight in here. So in this case, we'll just put them into this dish, and then this can also be our serving dish as well. So I have to just reach, get the scissors here, and then I'll just cut this open. And I'm going to, there's a watermark on the dish for how full you fill it. And so there's the watermark. So I'll just add the water to it up to that line. And then I'll put the noodles in. So if I'm going to do spaghetti noodles in here, I just break them in half so that they'll fit down inside the water. And you wouldn't do more than 1 or 2 servings in here, but then you add it to it, and then you put it into the oven on microwave with without the cover on it. So those just go in there. So as soon as the vegetables are finished, then we'll add these to the oven. And this is the lid that comes with it. And so it has perforations at one end, so that I'll use that for draining, which will be really handy. So we'll just leave this set right here. And as soon as this is done, we'll put that in the oven. I wanted to show you a couple of options of protein that you can add to this. You can have it just plain like this. Sometimes I have it just the noodles and pasta as a side dish, but sometimes I make it into one dish, and so I'll add some meat or protein to it. So I have some cooked chicken breasts that I could put in, and I also have some cooked ground beef. So I just cook up ground beef, drain it well, and then keep this in the freezer, and this would be like cooked chicken that's in the freezer too. So you can just take it out, and then the last few minutes of heating, you can add your meat to it, or you can microwave it after you put the meat in with the vegetables too, and that will give you some extra protein. The other thing I like to do is to serve this. It's also good just with steak. And if you have leftovers, then take the leftover steak and the leftover vegetables, and then you can just combine those together for a meal another day. And it's also good with salmon or like a fish. So you can either microwave the salmon, or you can convection cook the salmon, or do it in your air fryer. And then you can either serve it separate, or you can just break it into pieces and put it in with the vegetables. It makes a really nice dish. So our vegetables have a few more minutes here, so I'm going to let those just finish cooking, and then we'll come back and show you how it all goes together. So our vegetables are just about cooked, and so it's smelling very much like garlic and onion in the kitchen here, and really smells good. And they're kind of sizzling, and they'll be coming out shortly. So what I want to do is I'm going to put the noodles in the same oven. Now the oven will be hot from having the convection heat on, and so I'm going to put these on a silicone hot pad so that the heat from this turntable will not start to will not affect the plastic dish here. That'll just protect it. I actually have two ovens in this kitchen, so I could be doing one thing here and I could be microwaving the noodles over there. But most of you that are in your motorhome, and most homes, you only have one unit to cook with. So I'm going to just take out the vegetables here. So this is what these look like. And you can see I don't want to cook them until they're real brown, because I want to keep the nutrients in them. And they were cooked with 30% microwave power, which will just be enough to help to warm them, and then they'll just be toasted there. So what I want to do is I'm going to just set it on this wooden top is okay, and I'm going to just cover it over. And a lot of times for covering, I can just use an overturned silicone dish like this. You could use foil, but this is a whole lot more efficient, and it covers it and will just keep the heat in. If I cooked it in a dish like this, then what I could do was use one of these Teflon coated baking sheets to put over the top to just keep the heat in too. So the pasta is ready to go in, so it's going to take about 4 minutes to heat the water and the pasta together. So like I said, I have the silicone hot pad underneath, and I just put it in, and then with microwave I just put the timing and then start. And if I don't put in a lower power setting, then it's going to cook it at the full power setting. So as soon as that's finished, then we'll be ready to drain it, and then we'll be ready to combine it with the vegetables. And I'll put some meat in today. I think I'll put the ground beef in with it. I could either use the chicken or the ground beef, but I'll use the ground beef today. This looks like it's just little crumbles of ground beef that I just cooked in a skillet. What I like to do is when I buy ground beef, I buy larger portions, and sometimes I divide it into smaller portions, and then I take a portion and then just cook up a pound or two and drain it and just keep it in the freezer in a plastic bag. And then I can just scoop in and take out whatever I want. If I'm making a dish like this, or I can have pasta sauce and heat that up and put in some of the cooked meat. Or even if I want to do pizza or anything like that, I could crumble it over the top or into other casseroles. And if you want to, just add a little Italian sausage to it too, and that'll give it a little different flavor. Or to cook both the ground beef and the sausage, and then when you want something kind of Italian, you can combine those with it. One of the things I did with the noodles the other day was I cooked a roast beef, and so I had some leftover roast beef. So I did the noodles with the vegetables, and then I cut some of the roast beef, and I had some leftover gravy. So I'm going to use a soy type of sauce on the noodles today, but in that case I just put the gravy on it, so that's another way to do it. So I had like noodles and with gravy and roast beef, and then the vegetables with it as well. So we have a couple more minutes for the noodles to cook, so then I'll just come back in a little bit and we'll finish up the dish. Our pasta is just about cooked, and so as soon as it gets done, then I'll take it out and drain it. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to just add the meat right to the vegetables, and then we'll put it back in for just a few seconds to finish it up. So the dish will be kind of hot because it's been in a hot oven, since it still has, I don't have the convection heat on, but the oven is hot just because of the heat that was in the oven before. And when I do this with an oven that's mounted up high, like over the range, I usually put the lid on before I pull it out because there's less chance of the liquid spilling on you. So I'll just do that here, even though I shouldn't have that problem. So I just pull it out with the lid, and I'll show you what it looks like. And I'll just take a knife here and just be sure that the noodles are all released. So we'll kind of get those all loosened up so that they aren't stuck together. That's what the hot liquid does. And you can do this same idea, but you can microwave the vegetables, and then you could cook the noodles in the microwave, and then you could add them to it. Or you could also cook it in a skillet, cook the vegetables, stir fry them in the skillet, and then you could heat the pasta and then put it over the top too. So once this is out, this will be my sink here. So I'm going to just put the lid on, and then I'll just drain it through those openings there. And then the sauce that I have with this, I mixed up earlier, and I just keep this on hand. I make a larger portion, and I can just store it at room temperature, and then I can add it anytime I do this. But it's 2 tablespoons of soy sauce to 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, and then about a half a teaspoon of sugar with that. If you want to put a little ginger in it, you can. Sometimes I put chopped candied ginger, crystallized ginger, because that has the sugar on it and has the ginger flavor. So that's nice, especially if I'm doing chicken or a mild fish, that would go well with the ginger flavor. So I'm going to add the vegetables now to this. And so I could just take these and just slide them right off into the sauce here. And then we'll put a little meat in with it. And this is more than the 2 tablespoons, so I'll just pour a little of this on. And there are other of these kinds of seasonings for the Asian and Thai types of foods that you can put in there. So I'm going to just put this in. I just want to get the meat a little bit hot. So I'm going to put it back in and I'll actually put this on top of it to just keep the heat in, and we'll just microwave it for a minute, and that'll heat up the meat with the other vegetables. Okay, well, the vegetables are done here, so we'll just take these out, and I'm going to put the cover here over here to wash up, and then you can see it's steaming hot, so I'm going to just take a couple of forks and just mix this together and bring some of the pasta up and keep the vegetables up here too. So if you could, you could do this in the skillet, but this little microwave pasta container is really nice. And on the website, I do have the silicone dishes, and I have the pasta doughs that you can order. And so you can go there, and then the recipe is, you can click on it at the end. So be sure and subscribe too. But here's our pasta and vegetables with some ground beef chunks. So we're all ready for dinner. So enjoy.